It's Lee Cole here, and I am super excited about what we're talking about today because I've got my buddy Mark Helton on. I haven't talked with Mark in years. I know Mark very, very well. He is a combination of things. Super cool, badass entrepreneur. Mark Helton, get on here and tell people hello and tell them how cool you actually are.
I'm not going to be very good at that at all because I don't think I'm that cool. I'm just I'd say, you know what, here's the difference between me and most of the people out there that does what we do. I just I like doing it. I like actually going out and digging in and working with people. I love getting on the phone and selling. So I don't know. I'm more of a doer than a teacher. I can teach, but I really like to do. So,
Well, it takes both actually. And let's go into your background a little bit because you just said you love selling, and that makes total sense because I think your background is mainly in selling, right?
yeah. So I started. I got my first sales job in 1999. Oh my gosh, it's almost been 20 years. I was actually. It's funny too. A quick story. I used to cut the grass. I was I was a landscaper when I got out of high school, working, just trying to figure out what I wanted to do. I didn't go to college, so I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And I remember I was cutting the grass at this office complex, and I'd look over at the people that were coming out of this office. It was a huge office. They had fancy cars. They're all dressed up. And I remember saying to myself, I said, one of these days I'm going to have a job like that where I work on the inside
Right.
instead of the outside. Because, I live in Las Vegas. It's hot. It's very, it's not fun to work outside.
Right.
It's nice to get the tan. I always had a really good tan, but working outside is just, it's not fun. So anyways, fast forward like 2 years, I moved from being a landscaper to a short order cook. And, long story short, my sister recommended me to go apply at this sales job, and you're not going to believe where I went to work.
Okay, where did you go to
place I cut the grass. So those people that I was looking at, I became one of them at another office, but same company.
You became one, and you realized that you love selling things.
Yeah. So what the company that I worked for was a business to business telecommunications company. They sold long distance services to small to medium sized businesses. And I remember when they gave me the job, number one, I went from making $6 an hour as a short order cook to making $14.42 an hour, which was a huge raise. I mean, it was like double. But then they told me about this thing called commission.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, wait a second. So you're going to pay me $14 an hour, $14.42 an hour, which is more than I ever made in my entire life just to get on the phone and talk to people. But then you're going to pay me this thing called commission if I talk people into doing things that they didn't want to do. So I'm sold. Right? Where do I got to sign up?
Where's the phone, right?
Exactly. My first year, I made close to $100,000, and that was it was like going from rags to riches. I didn't have a college degree. I had no prior experience. This company taught me everything, and now here in Vegas, they're like they're one of those companies where if you say you work there, you're like you're like a superstar. Anybody will hire you. And a lot of the people that worked for this company, which is now, they're not out of business, but they've shrunk down a lot. But if, a lot of the people that work there started their own business, or are upper management at most companies and that sort of thing. So
right, you learned an enormous number of really, really valuable skills doing that.
They trained us on everything from the masters of selling, like Brian Tracy, Ziglar. Education was a big part of what we did. So when I say I learned how to sell there, I didn't just learn how to sell. I learned how to be a master at sales there. And then, just from there on, it, just
Amen to that. I love hearing that because, with so many people who want to do the kinds of things we do, they think it's because, they're not selling the right hip product, or they don't have the right whatever, the right software, the right steps. I mean, 99.99999% of the time, it's just that they flat out don't know how to sell.
Yeah, and that's, I don't even think it's really that they don't know how to sell. I think they overthink sales.
Yes, 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 yes. Amen to that.
Selling is nothing more than what you and I are doing right now. We're communicating with each other. We're
Mhm.
building a relationship, and I get it. Some people are introverted. It's natural to be. I'm actually an introvert. You are too?
I'm a super introvert.
Yeah, I'm an introvert. I don't like if I sat next to you on an airplane, I would be like afraid to talk to you.
Yes.
That's
Yeah,
me.
yeah. I flew from here to San Antonio a couple of months ago. My son was with me, but there was a guy sitting next to me, and I never said a word to him. I'm
Yeah.
I'm I'm extremely shy.
Me too. I'm very shy, but when I'm on the phone, here in a video, even in front of people talking, like I just have to tell myself that
Yes.
this is going to pass, and there's a reason why I'm doing this. It's for my
Right.
business, it's for my family, it's for those types of things, and then I just push through that first initial part, and then everything changes. And the same thing
Yep.
works for sales. When I first got started doing selling, and I know this isn't why you brought me on here, by the way.
No, but this is incredibly important stuff to talk about. So
Okay.
go ahead.
So when I first got started selling, the company pulls me out on the sales floor. Now, just imagine this company had like thousands of salespeople working in a big like a grocery store here in Las Vegas that had been turned. Actually, it was like a home supply store, like a Home Depot type of place that was completely hollowed out and had nothing but cubicles. So when I come out, I was intimidated by the fact there was all these people
Sure.
and they're talking and they're on the phone and all this stuff. I had no idea what I was doing. But when I got on the phone, I was even more scared because I never had talked to anybody on the phone before.
Hmm.
So, making those first initial phone calls was easier for me because I was being paid $14 an hour to do it,
Hmm.
but also because I had somebody that was pushing me. Learning that it's not going to hurt me, making
Right.
those first initial phone calls is kind of, I think, what gives me the power that I have now to where I can just turn that off. It doesn't mean that
Right.
it's gone. I still think about it every day when I pick up the
Right.
phone, but I don't know. I have the ability to turn it off. So
This is awesome. When I was in college, folks, we'll get to the reason why we're here in just a second, but this is incredibly important that people hear this. When I was in college, one of the ways that I worked my way through school was I worked for Time Life Books, and I would, after class, go sit in a little phone room for like 3 or 4 hours and just call. You had a script, and God forbid you ever deviated from the script, right?
oh yeah,
And
the
I mean,
voice of
because
God comes down on you.
oh yeah, yeah, like the sales manager who was all
Yep.
of 5 feet tall and just scared the living you know what out of me.
Yep.
And matter of fact, but believe me, the guy intimidates me now, and I haven't even seen him in 40 years, but whatever. So there you got the script. You got like this guy up in the front. You got all these people on the phone, and you have a little bell on your desk, and every
Uh-huh.
time you make a sale, you hit the
Ring the bell.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I mean, it was brutal for me. I mean, it was extremely brutal. I mean, I had to have the job, but just like you, I found out that A, it's not going to kill me, and
No.
B, I'm actually pretty good at it. And if I can get through that, the first few calls were always just
Yes.
scary as crap. But if I can get through that, then I get in a groove and I'm okay. And I'm like you, I was actually doing really well. It was a ton of fun. And I
Yeah,
learned
it
a ton.
changes everything for you when you can take something like that and just like get over that little hurdle.
Yes.
It changes your whole outlook on life. Because now I know I will never ever ever be homeless,
Right.
poor. I
Right.
won't have to worry about where I get my next meal or my family's next meal because I know how to talk to people and I can.
Hmm. Amen to that. Well, cool. So that is an awesome background. And so then you were kind of like getting into the whole offline marketing training thing and internet marketing kind of stuff a little bit back around the time I was 2010, 11, 12, right around there.
Yep.
And you went off and you built a really nice company for yourself. You have several employees. In other words, folks looking at this, Mark Helton is the real deal. Okay. He flat out knows what he's talking about. And you contacted me a little while ago and you said, Lee, I've got this new thing I'm doing and it's called Gamified Leads. And that was like so freaking interesting. We started talking about it. I know you're coming out with some training on that. So why don't you start telling us what in God's name is Gamified Leads all about, especially the word gamified? What is this? And then how could somebody who's not sitting in their own office with several employees out there, who's not already a big dog, how could somebody take this idea and start actually building a business around it?
Okay. Well, so I'll try to kind of go through those one by one. First off, we came up with the idea for the Gamified Leads software when, we built a tool that's an automation tool to go out and automatically follow up on our leads. It's a tool called Hot Prospector. And one of the big challenges that most of the businesses that we were selling to faced was how to get more leads to follow up on. So yeah, we have this tool that does all these automated follow-ups, leaving voicemails and text messages and calling them and emailing them and all of this sort of thing. But how do they get more leads? So we built this tool called Gamified Leads. It's basically a software or a quiz style form that as they're answering the questions, it's incentivizing them through the way we designed it to continue the process forward. It makes it fun to give somebody your information, right? I mean, most forms, if you go to the standard forms that are out there online, even the ones you download for your WordPress sites and such, they're just a boring, set of fields with a submit button that you fill out. What we created was an experience that it starts them in the beginning. You ask some kind of a question that makes them want to engage. And then once they start engaging, there's all these different things happening on the form that kind of incentivizes them more in their mind that this is going to be a good experience to continue moving forward. So now you can take a form that you want to get 10, 15, 20 fields. And normally that would be impossible if you put a list of fields on a screen. Nobody's going to fill it out. Your conversions are going to be ridiculously horrible, right? But we could take, an example, what we're doing in the mortgage business and get a short or even a medium size application filled out for a loan application at a conversion rate that we would typically see off of a short form. So does that kind of make sense?
So the gamification part comes in. So basically, you created software that will go out and get leads, number one. And instead of, and you're doing this through a quiz style format, number two. And in, the normal quiz style format, you get tired of filling in stuff after about 3 or 4 things, and then you move on, you get distracted. But you needed more information than that. So you gamified the filling out process so that's what incentivizes people to fill that out. And damn if that didn't work.
Yeah.
And you are able to have this software out there creating leads, and you're currently doing this for clients in the mortgage business, if I understand right.
We're doing it in a lot of different niches. Primarily our 2 favorite niches is mortgage and automotive. We're getting leads for our mortgage clients. These are people that are looking to purchase a home for $2 a lead.
So the lead is someone who's looking to buy a home, and the client is the mortgage broker, the mortgage originator, that company.
Correct.
And you're spending all of a couple of bucks per lead for your client.
Yep.
And how much on average? I mean, just give me a realistic ballpark average. How much are you selling those leads for?
You can sell those leads as much as $20 a lead. I would say that the sweet spot for this type of lead is going to be between $10 and $15. See, here's the thing, and I tend to go into a lot of details, mainly because I would want to know these details. A lot of people sell you stuff without telling you, what it is, that you would really want to know to help make your decision. So hopefully you appreciate that, Lee.
Well, let's go into some details.
Okay, so these type of leads, when you're buying a lead as a mortgage broker that's a purchase lead, they don't convert or close within a 30-day period. The typical sales cycle for a new home purchase, especially for somebody who's just trying to get pre-qualified to start looking for a home, is like 3 to 6 months. So when you're signing up a mortgage broker or a mortgage company to work with you, they're gonna have to decide to make a long-term investment in you and your company. So this is part of the reason why the leads can't be priced too high, because if you do, then next thing you know, you're gonna lose them before they even had an opportunity to see realize the value that's coming from those leads. So we like to price our leads lower, even though we could charge more, because there are a lot of other companies that do, and keep them long term. So you can either charge them per lead, or you can charge them on a monthly retainer for the ad services that you're providing. So we do Facebook advertising for our clients, and we'll charge them a flat fee, anywhere between $500 and $750 a month for a smaller budget client, to manage their ads and make sure that their budget doesn't get out of hand, and make sure that their leads are converting at a point to where they're keeping their leads at that that lower end. So
that makes total sense. So you probably don't know this about me, but I sold real estate with Remax for 10 years back in the day.
Okay.
So I completely understand this. So
and I'm from the mortgage background. So
there you go. Go. So let me break this down for our listeners a little bit. So somebody's going to get into your gamified thing, your gamified quiz thing, and become a lead, usually fairly early on in their buying process. So
correct.
So they're online. They're like, well, honey, do you think we could afford a house? I wonder how much we could afford. And it's scary as crap anyway for most people. And
it's a big purchase. It's the biggest purchase you could ever make.
Absolutely. And, where would they live and all this stuff. And, and they're really kind of like, trying to do all the online figuring out stuff. And they run across something. They run across your gamified thing. You're capturing the lead. But from that point, from that buyer's point of view, I mean, they got to find an agent. They got to get in the car and go look at houses. I mean, that's like a month-long process, 2-month-long process. Yeah. They've got to fill out the mortgage application. Now, of course, with the lead, they're going to hopefully be filling out the mortgage application with your client. And then it's going to take 30 days to close that. So you're looking at, just minimum, best case scenario, 3 months. And that means that your client has to essentially, one of two things would have to happen. They would either have to, budget a lot of money to buy expensive leads, being willing to actually get that money back in 3 or 4 months, which is kind of crazy. Or what you're saying is, no, it's just so much easier to sell those leads for a lot less, because then your client doesn't really have to think about it too much. Your client doesn't have to think, well, where the hell is that $5,000 going to? When am I going to get paid back for that $5,000? Exactly. Your client is thinking, okay, I got this thing rolling. It's sending me leads. It's costing me $500.
Eventually, they're going to start I'm going to start realizing a profit.
Yes. But it's below the threshold of There's me having to think about where, how am I going to recoup that money?
Exactly.
This is beautiful.
You can price it in such a way to where it keeps the pain threshold low enough to where they're going to be a long-term client. And I personally would much rather do that, price it low enough to where I'm able to keep my clients long-term, than make too much profit off of somebody for a month to where they
Yeah, because then you got to go through all this stuff about finding a new client. You got to replace.
It's expensive for us to find that client, right? It takes time and that sort of thing. So
Yeah, no, I'm liking that. So you get clients, they stay with you long-term, which allows you to intelligently build up quite a nice income off of this.
Yeah, you don't have to go out looking for clients all the time. So really 10, 15, 20 clients paying you between $500 to $750 a month for just the management side. And it doesn't take a lot of time. Once you've got that thing set up, really just kind of making sure that that there's enough people in the audience, and making sure that you don't have, you could probably make some tweaks here and there on the ads, but it doesn't take a whole lot of time.
the get that thing set up. By the thing, you mean your software. Then
No,
and
I'm
the
saying,
system.
so there's two components to what it is that we do for our
That's what I want to know. Yeah.
right. So component number one is going to be obviously the gamified lead form
Mm,
or lead page that's going to help get the customer to or the person who you're targeting to get the lead, right? It's going to help them
right.
fill
Right.
out that form, right? The second component is going to be the actual traffic component, and that could be Facebook, it could be Google, PPC.
Mm,
You could use display advertising. We've had a lot of success personally with Facebook,
right.
and we actually are teaching people how to do these advertising tweaks that are going to help you get those $2 leads.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Cool. So let's move on to the we are teaching people part,
Okay.
because you have a product coming out. You've got a training product coming out. On I think the 15th of August, and it's all about this gamified leads thing. And you've got this thing figured out so that you could actually take a well-meaning newbie, in other words, not another Mark Helton, but a well-meaning newbie. They could take your product and they could start actually doing this for clients. You've got it figured out where you can tell them how to get clients. And folks, just in case you're wondering, there are only like 40 bazillion mortgage brokers out there. So
I think there's like almost 50,000 of them.
that's amazing.
Yeah, they're not as big. It's not as many as there are real estate agents, but
there's plenty. There's plenty.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Here's the difference between them and real estate agents. A real estate agent, a lot of times, will get their license to do like 1 or 2 transactions a year, and they're okay with that.
Right.
But a mortgage broker is going to get their license, and they're going to do loans every single month.
Well, they make so much less per loan than a real estate agent makes per house. Yeah.
Yeah, about 1.5 basis points is the typical amount. So 1.5% of whatever the loan amount is what the typical loan officer is going to make for commission.
Right. So, but there's plenty. I mean, if you need like 20 people in your stable to have a great income, divide 20 into 50,000 folks, and
there's plenty.
Yeah, there's plenty to go around. So you've got training and everything that somebody needs to actually go off and do this.
We have a foot in the door method to help you get in front of the loan officer with some very low entry level, low pain. We like to keep the pain threshold low for someone to decide whether or not they want to do business with us. So we're actually giving you access to the software that you can give away as a trial to your loan officer client. So that way you can get them to start the process of getting to know who you are. And then once you've gotten them into your funnel, we built a automated touch sequence that's going to warm them up into becoming a more higher level client. So basically we start them off with giving them the software. It's on a trial basis. After the trial expires, then they're going to be a paid customer of the software. Then after they are a paid customer of the software, then we're going to take them to the next level where we're going to try to offer them services for advertising. And that would be where you can offer them advertising on Facebook or Google PPC or whatever it is that you offer. And, so we try to automate as much of that for you as possible. So you literally just focus on putting people into your funnel. And then you basically sit back and hopefully count the money. But it's
I'm loving this. In other words, you've got it down so that someone could actually go through your training, start doing this, and probably, I mean, it's as long as they get off their butt and do it, probably have some great success doing this.
Yeah.
One thing that I love hearing is the fact that you're targeting mortgage brokers. Those are incredibly easy people to talk to. They're people. They're open. They're networkers. They are extremely approachable, as opposed to somebody like a doctor or a chiropractor who's hiding in the office and not wanting to ever talk to anybody, unless you're sitting there on the examination table.
Exactly.
But, I mean, these people, I mean, they're like real estate agents. They are massive. The ones that make it in the business are masters at communicating, and they love talking to people.
They do.
It's easy to approach them.
Yes. They're easy
Awesome.
to get a hold of, and the contact information for loan officers
Yes.
everywhere.
Yes. Yes. I mean, it's not like you have to dig it out or anything. I mean, yeah, that's another thing. It's abundantly clear how to get hold of them.
Yes.
Awesome. I'm loving this. This is one of the coolest things that I've heard about. I ran across the title Gamified Leads, and then you got in touch with me yesterday or whenever it was, and that was really cool. And I just love the way you've done this. This is an awesome. I mean, obviously, this system works because it's part of your business, but it's awesome that you've boiled it down so that independent entrepreneurs can start doing this too. That is really, really cool. Folks, this is cool. Mark is cool. I mean, he's obviously the real deal. And, I never Mark, I never tell people what to do except once in a blue moon. I'm going to tell people what to do now. When this launches on the 15th, you just need to drop everything and buy it. Just go with me here. And just forget about everything else. Buy this. This is, I'm blown away. I mean, this is really neat.
Yeah, I appreciate that, especially coming from you, because I know one thing I like about you, Lee. There's a lot of things I like about you, but one of the reasons why I think you and I have gotten along all these years is because we have the same mindset when it comes to overselling things to people and making over promises. You're very level-headed, and to me, I think there's so much noise out there, especially in this community. A lot of people out there making promises, just to make a buck. But you're not that kind of guy, and I do appreciate that.
You and I actually had that conversation yesterday, and that is 100% true. Ditto. I've always read you as a person who's really excellent at what they do, going to tell people how to do it, but not going to tell them stuff that just.
I'll be honest with you. Like I said, that's my number one goal, is to be honest with you in every aspect. What we do with reaching out to loan officers, it's not, as easy as ABC, but it's about as close as you can get. And everything that we do, we think about the newbie and we try to figure out, okay, will this be something that they can duplicate? Can somebody who's just getting started take what we're doing, take the idea, take the methods, take the stuff that we're doing and implement it and actually get results? So
right. I'm loving this. Well, Mark, thank you. We've spent probably about 30 minutes here. Thank you so much for your time. I know you got a busy day. Folks, I hope you got a lot out of this. This is launching on August the 15th. I've got some incredible bonuses for you if you decide to buy through my link. And you're on my list, or if you're not on my list, you're on YouTube somewhere. There's links all over the place to get on my list, and you will hear about this, and I would suggest that you get enrolled with it. Thanks so much. I'm Lee Cole, and talk to you all soon.
Thanks, Lee.
Mark, thank you so much, buddy.
My pleasure.